or Mitt Romney, let's just say for the sake of argument, Mitt Romney wins. And you still have President Obama presiding over the fiscal cliff and the lame duck session, which will obviously happen. And John Boehner and Eric Cantor go to the conference and say, we have a choice here. We either can tell President Obama we're going to produce no votes and let the Bush tax cuts expire and everything else expire for a short period of time and give Mitt Romney a fresh start, or we can cut a compromise now, which gives the new incoming Romney administration time, but it's a compromise with a defeated president. And because John Boehner and Eric Cantor go to the conference and seek your counsel, what would be your advice under that likely or possible scenario?
Is that to me or?
I think, for me, I don't want to see a tax increase. I think America's saying we don't want a tax increase. We do need tax reform. What we should do is in September, we should pass a continuing resolution, which is a terrible, awful way to govern, but go past that lame duck session. It should be palatable to both Republicans and Democrats, and give a new president or a re-elected president until March in order to help sort this out. But if that doesn't happen...
That's spending, that's not taxes.
But I think you can do it across the board. I think you can continue with the current trajectory of both spending and taxes. Just keep the status quo until March, allow either a re-elected president or a new president to be able to have at least literally days to deal with this once they're sworn in January 20th.
President Obama is not going to sign a continuing resolution that extends the Bush tax cuts, not in the teeth of a campaign where he's made that definition.
I think this is more a negotiation between the House and the Senate. I think the president would have a very difficult time to reject that if both the House and the Senate can move that forward.
Congressman?
I just wonder if you're basing your assumptions simply on election timing. And I think that you need to look at it, the sort of the perspective of where we are now and where we'll be post-November. Right. And I don't know that they're one and the same. And I think that for all of us who set policy, it'd be a mistake to think that where we are today is where we will be post-November.
You know, Vin, the agenda.
That's the critical point.
Go ahead.
Well, expand on that, Vin.
Well, you're assuming that the Congress will be acting in the same exact political environment in November, December as exists today. And what Congresswoman Bones, the point she has made correctly is the environment is going to change with the election. And the Democrats, assuming a Romney presidency, and I would think that would assume a Republican Senate as well, the Congress will come back with a different attitude towards these things. It will be much more difficult for the Democrats to be as obstructionist as your question implies if the country has just voted for a Republican government.
And even if that election ultimately produces something very close to a 50-50 divide in the presidency, in the Senate, perhaps Republicans holding the House, but with a narrower majority. I mean, it is possible that likely that the winner of this presidential election will have a lower share of the popular vote than Obama did, fewer electoral college votes than he did in 2008. If the country is closely divided, does that logic still hold?
Well, I think so. The country, again, I'm sort of back to the previous one. The country wants a new president to succeed. I mean, President Obama only got 53% of the vote, pretty good margin, but he came into office with a 75% approval rating. The country is going to want a new president to succeed. And if the new president acts appropriately, he can maintain that. My view is that one of the big mistakes that this president made when he first came in with a 75% approval rating was to outsource his first big policy decisions to House Speaker Pelosi. And this isn't because I think she's any better or worse than anybody else, but by giving it to the House of Representatives, you assured a partisan product, a partisan outcome, and I think it set the tone for the whole 4 years. A new President Romney will have an opportunity to shape a different environment.
Let me ask you one.